Hello, folks. Greetings again. So, this is the second part of our painting, and I'm not sure how many parts there is going to be for this painting, but let's see how it goes. So, here's our painting, and um, right now I'm thinking that since I need to put a portrait on basically this side of the painting, and I'm looking at these trees, the trees are much smaller than what it has to be if I need to actually paint some portrait this side, right? So how can I make this trees longer? There are two ways to do it. Um, Obviously, the difficult way to do it is actually repaint the tree or modify the tree's painting in such a way that the tree is much larger, it's longer, and you probably need to rub off a few branches in the bottom and then add more branches on the top, right? But this time I'm going to teach you a simple technique which you can do only in digital painting. You can't do it in regular painting, where you can make the tree longer. Okay, so to do that, you just select the layer, and now you will get an idea of why we were doing layers after layers after layer. Okay, so I select the tree layer, and then I have a tool right here called transform. Okay, it has this four dots and lines connected together. So you click on transform. There are two types of transform here. You can do a three-dimensional transform, which in this case I don't need it, and otherwise I can do a two-dimensional transform. Okay, so the three-dimensional transform, this is called a scale, and this one is called as distort. Okay, but anyway, I'm going to do a two-dimensional transform, and as soon as I click on that, you see that in the four corners of my layer I have these kind of pin structure showing up. You can select one of the pins and you push the tree longer. Okay, so right now as I'm pushing the tree up, there are two things that is happening that you can notice. One, the grass on the bottom is also expanding, right? Now I don't know if that's a good thing. But the other thing is that, remember that I made a mistake before where in the tree layer I actually painted the water. You see, when I lift it up, that that part of the water is also being lifted up, right? Um, and the other thing is that, so when I do this way, when I push it this way, the tree comes out this way. You see that? So let me push that back normally and make the tree really high. Okay, as much as possible. Then there's a tick mark here which says, hey, is that good? You like it? And then you can put the tick mark. But what I want to do is, when I pull the tree up, it also got a little leaner, right? So I want to make the tree a little fatter. So I'm just pulling another of this buttons here. Okay, satisfied with that. So in case if I'm going to paint somebody, I don't know, standing here, um, it will really look like the person is standing there, right? But the other problem I have is, I think while transforming, there's a little white line on the bottom because probably I pulled it up a little bit more. So let me fill that up. Again, click on transform, pull that guy down a little bit. Okay. Okay, so now you see that, so as simple as that, the tree has got bigger, right? But now the problem is, well, what about the water? It really looks odd that there's some part of the water which kind of lifted up, right? As though something is flooding. And then the other thing that you will notice is, as we are changing it, the water looks as though it's flowing downstream. Okay. That's because the artificial horizon I just painted is not straight. We're going to correct that too. Um, but before that, let me just fix the water. And to fix the water, each of these layers have as a eye kind of thing. You see that? Click on the eye so that whatever you painted, whatever things you painted, it's 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 not been shown, right? So I really clicked on all the thing, and now I can actually see that there is some parts of the water that's painted in this layer, but I still want to make sure that there's nothing else in this layer, right? So that's where your background comes into play. Now, whatever you do to the background will not be in the end of the painting, okay? But when you're doing some editing, this background layer is very interesting because I can change the color of the background, make it really dark, maybe somewhere there, maybe grayish. Okay, when I do that, now I can see the part, the part of that water thing is there, which I need to rub it off. And so use the rubber, and you can really make it, like 30s, in the 30s, and then just rub off that area. Even here, there's some sort of thing there. Okay, I rub it off. Okay, so there's nothing here now. And now I push the background back to normal, white, okay? And then start putting in the layers. Okay, so now you see that I corrected that part. Now, um, the next thing, if you see these trees, yeah, sure, they look okay, but it sounds as though the tree looks a little artificial right now, okay? So let's modify the tree a little bit better, make it look a little better. But before we do that, the next thing I want to show you is, remember that we have, so if you see the layers, we have the background, which is white. Then we made a light bluish layer here. Then we have the sky, then we have the mountains, then we have the water, and then we have the tree. Okay, those are the layers. Now this layer, I said that, hey, just leave this layer alone and start adding more layers, and then that layer we change the background. Now, why do we need that? We need that because as you paint, there's always going to be, either you're going to use a transparent brush, or as you paint, there's always going to be some white areas. You see those white areas, and those white areas are initially to look like, oh man, it looks that things are not complete, but they are all there for a reason. Okay, because you can make your picture you can choose the day, the time of the day, and accordingly you can change the picture a little bit, and I'll tell you how. So for example, let's say that you want a kind of late in the evening kind of look. You can select that layer, make your color oranges, and use the paint bucket, and click on your picture. See, you kind of got a very evening kind of look, even though you're going to paint more, but already you got some look like that. I'm going to try some kind of a little bit more brighter day, but the sun is all there, a little bit yellowish. Okay, that's the time of the day I'm going for. Yeah, even a little bit more lighter. Okay, because I want it a little bright. Okay, so I did that. Now, your mountains and things like that, we are still going to paint. Okay, but still, you just kind of got that feeling that things are really warm. Okay, now you can even make it cold. If you want to make it cold, you choose some kind of blue. Okay, so if you use a blue, it's kind of a coldish weather, right? But I wanted a warm kind of feeling in my painting. I made it a little yellow, then it looks really warm. Okay. um, and then you can also choose the time of the day, like, if I use this color, for example, things are really, things are really near sunset kind of thing, and you can even have a little night effect if you want, you know so there are various ways in which you can change the effect of your painting just by that one layer that is in the back, right? Anyway, so still this looks a little eveningish. Yeah, I don't want it too much in the evening. Okay, it's probably 5 o'clock in the evening. Okay. Uh, then the next thing is that now when you do this kind of yellowish tinge to your painting, your shadows or your dark your lighter parts should also have a little bit of a yellowish tinge. So we'll correct that. We're starting with our trees. Let's take our brush and go to the tree layer, kind of give a very subtle. Now let me try again. It should be very, very subtle. Okay, something like that. And here again, something. Okay. Okay, and let me blend the stem a little bit. I'm just adding some more shadows to it, and then I'm going to blend. That's too much of a value, so I'm going to make it 10. I'm going to blend them so that it doesn't look very artificial. Okay. Okay, blended that. Okay, then blend this one. Okay, and kind of make it a little bit more darkish, and then do the same thing to some part of the mountain. Probably need to take the tree off. I'm making the same mistake, painting it in the wrong layer, and that's always a problem. Always I got to check. Let me hide the tree so that I can see the mountains a little better. Now that I'm already looking at the mountain, I'll first correct the artificial horizon a little bit. As I said, that nothing should be uniform in your painting, but the horizon sometimes it needs to be uniform. Otherwise, we get a different kind of perspective. Okay, so to make things uniform, there are many tools that's available in Sketchbook. One of the things is there's a ruler. You see that ruler? So this ruler is really an important tool, and when we do the portraits, you'll understand. The ruler has two things. You can measure distances, but also you can measure the angle. And so if you see there's a button kind of thing, you just push it up and down, the angle changes. Make the angle to 0, and see it has, the ruler has a dotted line. So there is a dotted line. So I'm just going to put that just on the foothills of the mountain and see that it's a lot tilted, right? Um, so what I'm going to do is that, so I'm going to add some effects to my painting in such a way that what is tilted is not really tilted. Okay, and I probably need to put that uh, above the water layer, and you'll know why I'm doing it. So I'm going to create a new layer above the water layer. My ruler is still there, and I'm going to choose some sort of greenish, maybe a little bit lighter greenish color. And I'm going to use, I'll start with this thick digital brush, and I'm going to basically draw a line. You see that? I'm drawing a line. Now, once you have this line, I'm going to have a layer of forest at the foothills of the mountain. I'm going to have a layer of forest. And how do I create a forest? Is basically go for a darker green, much darker green, and let me, because I can always paint a forest with just brushes. Okay, let me try this brush. Well, this is too thick. Maybe I can reduce the brush's thickness a little bit. Maybe make it like 8, and the lighter version of it, maybe, see, because brush thickness you can differ by lightness. Okay, and with maybe 5. Change the opacity when things are a little heavy. When it is light, even change the opacity a little bit more. So make it like a little bit more natural brush. And now I'm just going to make up some forest. Okay, and forest is nothing but some vertical lines, going a little bit higher, a little bit lower, a little bit, and it's all green right now. Some trees are higher, some trees are lower. That's kind of the effect you want to have, but you're doing it on that horizon that you drew. Do that, then select your ballpoint pen. Comes with your standard sketchbook thing, and make it real. My ballpoint pen, the size is 2. Okay, both for the light. In fact, for the heavy pressure it's 1. The light pressure is 2. Okay, it has to be really light. And now you're changing the color, and you'll be alternating. Okay, alternate into like a light green, and again the same exercise, but now you're painting on those trees, but there's some lighter looking trees. That's what this means, right? So you're painting on that. So there are some lighter looking trees, there's some darker looking trees, and I'm just doing that a little bit. Okay, got that. Now again, just do let's select some dark reddish color, because there are some trees that have dry leaves, and therefore they're dark reddish. Okay. Okay, good. Then let me try an orange and keep populating our forest with orange. And for orange, just give some gaps so that it doesn't look too orangish. Okay. Then now go back to green, but a much darker green if possible, and even change the green. Change it into maybe more of all more dark green. Okay. And now use this not the digital brush, which is a little thinner, and just focus on the bottom. Okay. Just focus on the bottom. Don't make this layer go above the orangish greenish structure. Okay. And I'll tell you why. There's a reason for that, because it gives you a perspective, a 3D perspective, that there's a lot more trees in there. There's a lot more. So it's basically the foothills of the mountain is actually plain, right? There's some plains in there. It's what it means. I think this is good enough. Maybe one more time, maybe one more green I can use a little bit here and there. Okay, and then take a very very light color. Um, Probably I can. So you see this thermometer kind of thing in the color editor. You can use that to select a different color. Okay, so if you do that and put it on any part of your screen, that color will be selected. I'm just going to select that yellow maybe. Then I'm using well, I'll use the same brush and see where you have the artificial origin. Just use that place to draw some little bit of straight line in that area. Okay, and that kind of tells you, well, the water is kind of going in to the forest a little bit, so it tells you that that's the shore. Okay, in fact, because the overall structure is yellow, doesn't show that much, so I'm going to make that color even lighter and put that little whitish thing. Now the key thing is, the next thing is blending, but do not blend the top part, just blend the bottom part. Okay, the top part, those lines and little things that needs to be shown. So take the blender, maybe 10. Okay, a 10-point blender, and just the bottom, just straighten things out. Okay, yeah, like that. Okay, so now you see some vegetation and this is on the foothills of the mountain. It's not on the mountain, but it's on the foothills of the mountain. Um, and your artificial origin really looks better now. See, I will just switch on the other layers. Yeah, see, now your water looks really natural, right? There's a lot of work we need to do on water, and I'm hoping that I will do it as part of this session. It's already 30 minutes over on this, but when I reduce or do some editing, I think it'll go down a little bit. Um, so the next thing I need to do is, on that edge of the shore, especially when there's water, it's going to be a little misty. Okay, so I'll select the same layer where maybe not that layer. Maybe I'll add one more layer between the water and the forest on the foothill, and kind of choose which color to choose because it's yellowish right now. So it's but I need to get a little bit in the blue side. Let me, okay, that yellow may be a little grayish. Okay, so select that color and select that layer and go back and use your airbrush or spray paint, whatever you want to call. You see that? It gives you kind of distance. It gives you a perspective that, okay, this is in the distant, right? It's far away. And it also gives you a hazy feeling, right? And let me go back to that yellow. Yeah, and increase the mist effect a little bit. Okay. Okay, that's good. Um, Now let me go back to the mountain. And the mountain needs a lot of work, but I'm just going to start with some basic work right now. I'm just going to choose a green, and for the mountain, I'm just going to use that grass thing, but maybe reduce its size a lot. I mean, there is really unlimited option for mountains. Okay, which brush to use? Okay, so I'm just going to use that grass brush. In fact, I'm going to teach you one trick. When you're using a brush more often, you can just pull that in right here. Okay, but I need to make it like 10. Right, and I'm just going to right now I'm not worried about the colors and stuff. I mean the shadow and lighting and stuff, but I'm just going to paint the mountains green. In fact, let me close this layer to, yeah, so that I don't see that layer again. Okay, and you see that one of the things I'm doing is, as I'm putting these mountain lines, I'm also making sure that it looks like a pyramid, because mountains are kind of like a pyramid, right? So that your brush stroke should kind of, as you use your brush stroke, just paint your mountain like a pyramid, and when you blend it, it will show the effect, right? So, and I've decided that my mountains are going to be green. Okay, maybe on the top, maybe I can add some snow, but right now my mountains are looking green. And here, this one. What about that brownish thing? We'll blend it, so don't worry about it. And if you want to paint it on the brownish thing also, you can paint it. Okay, that's good. And now let me add some more. So your mountains have vegetation, but sometimes it's dark, sometimes it's light. So I'm taking another darker uh, color, and I'm adding more. Okay, now try some brown. Maybe my mountain also has some brown. Okay, Maybe there's some rocks here and there. Okay, I got, somehow I'm going to blend it. But before you blend, behind the mountain, create another layer. Uh, yeah, layer. Okay, and this layer, you're actually going to uh, make some thick background to these mountains where you painted something. Okay, so you select some kind of color, and maybe this kind of green. Okay, towards the gray. Okay, yeah, greenish gray kind of thing. And in this layer, what you do is you select one of the synthetic paints, synthetic brushes basically. Let me see. Okay, so this is a synthetic brush, and you can select any synthetic brush actually. Maybe, yeah, this one. Let me try. Yeah, that synthetic brush is okay. What about this one? Probably this one. This one. Um, no, try the second one. Okay, synthetic brush two. Okay, and just paint on the mountain. Be careful that you don't touch the either the water or the clouds, but you're just painting them on the mountain. Okay, and I'll tell you the purpose of it is it kind of gives a shade. You're actually painting behind the mountain, but it fills up the areas with some color. Okay, but don't, be careful, don't touch the clouds or the water. Okay. Okay, so now go back to the mountain layer. Take your blender. Yeah, 10 is, I think 10 is good. Yeah, it blends. Okay, then blend your mountain. Okay, so I blended a little bit. um, Now again, let me try some other color. Yeah, that green. Then let me go and find another brush. Or let me go and select the same grass brush right here, and maybe make it a little bigger now, and then paint again. So now concentrate on the places that look a little white or bluish because of the previous layer's color. Concentrate there, and also on the brown outline parts now should be filled up with the green color. So, and it's okay if you paint on them. Okay, things are looking a little okay now. Maybe another green and more painting. I've not blended them yet, but I'm painting more and more. Okay, I've been painting for more than 1 hour now, but when I compress it, whatever repeated things I'm doing, I'll just compress the timing so that you're learning, you're not getting bored, but trust me that all that 1 hour is pure fun. Okay, because you're creating things. You, even though you're creating it in a canvas, it's, you get the satisfaction as though that you have created. And in this case, because I've not looked at any picture, this is just my own picture, I'm actually creating these mountains. All right, and that's awesome, right? Okay, um, so I did up some blending. The mountains look very interesting right now. Okay, so now there are a few things that we need to take care of. First is the shadows, and I'm a big fan of the mountain ranges in the Himalayas as well as my own hometown, which is Nilgiris, and especially in areas where the mountains are really high. You can see this in California too. When the mountains are really high, what happens is that it's very difficult for strong long trees to grow. Okay, so the trees, start growing in the valleys and the shadow areas where the wind is not high, whereas wherever the wind is so high, there's no trees in there. Okay, and we want to bring that effect right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a darker green. Okay, and the brush I'm going to use is, let me see what brush. I need some bristles, right? But at the same time, uh, I need some darkish but a little bit lightish kind of alternating bristles. Let me search for a brush. Mm, maybe I can use one of these fur brushes. Maybe fur brushes. Okay. Yeah, let me try that brush. Yeah. So I'm going to choose valleys to make this darkish color. Okay. Just the valleys, because the theory is only in the valleys I see some darkish trees. They are there only in the valleys. Okay. So I covered the valleys. I will use a completely different brush now and make it even go a little darker. And maybe I can use the regular brush just to show that some areas are even more darker. Just want to show that. Don't overdo it. Okay, with the regular brush. Now, these are misty areas. Remember that we created the mist, and the mist is still there. The misty layer. If I remove the misty layer, you'll see that things are a little looking better. But yeah, I'm using the regular brush to make some emphasis on, well, there are trees there, but they are a little bit more prominent. Okay. Just enjoy it, okay? Don't don't worry, there's nothing wrong. There's absolutely nothing that is wrong. And then there are some patches of, trees in odd areas. Some of those trees survived in the wind. Yeah. Okay, and then blend it. Don't forget to blend, okay? Because the blending gives a natural look. That's the point. Okay, blend it a little bit. Yeah, these are, if you go to like uh, area like Lawrence Livermore, uh, the nuclear physics center um, in California, the mountains will look like this. Okay, now let's put the okay, and let me put the other layers in. There you go. You see, uh, so now my mountains look really natural. Have the foothill forest. The forest requires some darkish color, I feel like, and I'll put that in. The water needs a little bit more work, and the trees have become larger, right? And things are getting into shape. I think before I close, I want to put some snow on the top of, and snow is always white, okay? So choose your layer on the top. You're putting some, go to the mountain layer, and now I'm adding some snow. Now, when you're adding snow, be careful that you don't put them in the bottom parts of the mountain. Okay. So it's not like it snowed. This is the old snow, just to, so it snowed like a week before. As I said before, don't blend them too much because you do need to see the snow in places, but you are adding some blending in place so that the key thing is it should not, nobody should say that, hey, it's done in a brush. Okay, that's the key thing. And that's it. As I'm looking at it, I want some dark color on my forest. So I'll choose the dark color and go to the layer where we did the, and I'm going to add some dark color. Okay, now I'm going to blend it. And when you're blending this side, I'll do, my strokes will be like, push it up and down, right? Vertical blending. And in the bottom, you can do right and left, horizontal blending. But when you're blending the top part, just do up and down blending, okay? Okay, now let's put our tree in. Look at that now. Okay, this place looks heavenly. I mean, I will build my house here. Okay, it looks heavenly. I see the clouds, I see the mountains, snow-filled mountains sometimes. Okay, old snow, and foothill forest, and I have the water. Okay, we started with nothing, remember. Okay, and we have created this. I'm going to close right now. I thought that I'll do the water. Okay, I want to show you how to create natural looking water, and this time I also want to show you how to create natural looking water with a shadow of the clouds and mountains on the water. Okay, I want to show you that, but perhaps I'll do that in the next class, because it sounds like, these classes. So far I painted for 1 hour 20 minutes today, and this is what I've got from that. But I'm really happy. I'm really happy how the mountain shaped up. Really happy about the foothill forest that I see. And also we did the easy thing of pushing the trees a little higher and making them bigger and adding some shadow to it, right? Adding some shadow and some light to it. I'll leave it with this right now, and in the next class we'll see how the water gets transformed. Remember that I also said that I'm planning to have an island, and I'll have the island, and then later part I'm actually going to take a picture of one of my friends, and I'm going to create a real portrait standing or sitting in this side of, before the mountains, that this person is sitting and enjoying the scenery, right? I'm going to paint that. Okay, until then, have a good day, have a good night, have a good evening, whichever part of the world you are. And thank you very much, and thank you for having the patience to watch this video. Okay, thank you.